Good morning. We are live.
You know, this is the age of what I call, the information. The changes that are taking place are just amazing. And I was on a couple of sessions yesterday with some other technology, Appear.in. I don't know if you've used that. A lot of Slack people use that, and it's just really slick to be able to just drop in and fire up something like this and just start talking with individuals all around the world.
So for those of us who don't know what Appear.in is, will you please explain?
Yeah, Appear.in is an ad hoc. Think of Skype without all the bells and whistles. Think of just, all I need to do is go to Appear.in.
Is that APPEAR?
Correct, just like it sounds. And here, I'll just type it in the.
I did.
Okay, Appear.in, and you fire it up, and it just gives you this screen. It says, "Okay, what would you like to be called?" And you type your name in, so it has Appear.in -Russ, and then you send that link to somebody, and they click on, and it's just, we're looking at it just like here, just like we are here.
So it's kind of like Zoom. It's private. It's not like Blab where it's open to the public. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So.
And what do you use it for, Russ?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I use. Yesterday was National Podcast Day, and I know that Amy J was there, and there are some people that were involved all over the world, and I got on a couple of blabs with some people, and I saw Hanny Mora. Well, Hanny Mora is a WordPress developer for Simple Podcast Press. And as Future Media Association, I knew that we are always inviting experts into our classroom. And Hanny he's up in Toronto, Canada, and Hanny does video and also a lot of automation. So I said, Hanny, would you be willing to jump on I was telling him about how PodClear and Blab connected. And he goes, oh, I wanted to bounce some things off there. And I asked him how he gets his videos up on YouTube. And he says, I had some ideas. Let's do you have time to chat about that and brainstorm? So I says, yeah, let me send you a link. And I sent him an Appear.in link. And we just jumped on it, and he was in Toronto, Canada, and here I am, Houston, Texas, and we just started chatting. We had a nice chat for a half hour or so, and I said, hey, would you be willing to jump on an experts panel at Future Media Association? He says, sure, I'd love to. Just let me know what I need to do. So it was excellent to just immediately connect. You have a subject, you have an idea, you have a concept. And he goes, I just need to bounce it off you. And so we connected, and it was right there. So it's just incredible. It just blows my mind. And then we were talking to somebody from Russia the other day, right?
That's right.
Mike from Russia.
So Russ talked about PodClear. So let me back up just a little bit and tell you that PodClear is like Ringr, RINGR. And it was purchased by Blab. So we're not sure, I don't think yet, exactly what that means. The audio quality will surely get better. But PodClear is a new technology, right, Russ, that helps the audio quality up in the cloud. It takes your voice, your audio, and your guest's audio and brings it together and then brings it back down better than you sound in real life.
Yeah. Well, and I've not used PodClear. They were at the Podcast Movement 2015, and it was really interesting to watch this technology. And actually, I got a meeting today with a client of mine that uses the PodClear. So I'm going to talk to him a little bit about that and get a little more detail around that.
Excellent. Good morning, Phil. Nice to have you.
Yeah.
We do have an open seat if anybody'd like to come in. We don't have a trainer or a expert in today, except for us, of course. So we'll talk about just about anything that you want to talk about. We love the future of media and where it's going and all the cool tools that are coming out. So if you have any questions or if you have any thing you would like to share, please jump in the hot seat.
Yeah, Phil, jump on. It looks like you've been around a little bit. So, it's always interesting conversation. So
all right, Phil's going to join us.
Fantastic. I love it.
I love the you've been around a bit.
Well,
You're right. Well, I have.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Phil?
I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Just turn this volume up a little bit.
You're going to go out and discover things.
Oops. I'm in Manchester in the UK. So I'm a consultant and a coach and work with businesses around the UK mainly. Corporate background before that, working for some of the bigger companies in sales and marketing, in customer services and communications. About 10 years ago, went off on my own, gave up the corporate job, came out in a rash. Sat in a corner and cried, all those kind of things.
I call it corporate refugee. I'm a corporate orphan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then I just built up my expertise and built up more and more credibility. I did speeches at events that helped in terms of building up my credibility a bit, in terms of the knowing a bit about what I'm talking about, and I wrote a book as well just to get a bit more of that authority. And I've been on Blab for about 30 days in total, but I've kind of probably been using it for about 20, 25 of those days. And it's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is interesting. So tell us what Future Media Association, Marion and I created this organization to really help business owners and creatives and lifetime learners, kind of focus on the media side of the equation. And we feel the Blab is really going to be an important part of media and media development, audio and video. We do a lot of podcasting. We've been involved in the podcasting community. I taught at Podcast Movement 2015, a workshop on that. And, we develop websites and all of the things, the digital. So our focus around media is words, images, audio, and video. So what kind of passions do you have about the development of media? As a coach and somebody that teaching others, how do you use media to implement your message, your ideas, and your concepts? How do you do that, Phil?
Yeah, I mean that's a fantastic question and an amazing topic that I probably share your passion in and on. It's so interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The future's always much more interesting, isn't it? Oh crikey, where do I start? Well, I do a lot of content marketing myself as part of my promotional activities. One of the things that I did and I use and still use to this day is I won't bore you with the story, but about 10 years ago, I decided to research some of the key drivers behind success and high achievement, because I'd worked for a number of very successful people, including some entrepreneurs that were really very wealthy guys. So what I did is I wrote to some pretty high profile here in the UK people who were in business, sport and entertainment, and asked them if I could interview them about their journey. If you don't ask, you don't get. And,
Absolutely.
I started to get
totally agree with you there.
Right.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I've been really cheeky. I'll be cheeky again and ask them if I could video those interviews. And again, if you don't ask, you don't get. And they agreed. So I ended up building a library of interviews with all these high profile, some not so high profile, but some pretty well known people in the UK that a lot of the people, if watching on here, if they're from the UK, will know. And I started putting them on the internet for people to watch. Now, that doesn't seem a big deal, but it was in 2003. Because we couldn't even watch flaming video most of the time. Our bandwidth was like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, so I got kind of involved, if you like. I was seen a little bit in certain terms as a bit of a futurist then, because I was doing that years before YouTube and such like.
right.
And I even did speeches about it at conferences. So I've always been a fan of video as a communications tool, even all that time ago, and I still am. Because I think it's just so much more interesting and dynamic, and people are lazy, they can't be bothered reading anymore. Right. So whereas I used to talk to clients probably 2 years ago about content marketing, and a lot of the clients I deal with are quite traditional businesses. So their very idea of content marketing at all is like futuristic. They're used to, do you want to buy my stuff? That's
right.
The kind of thing.
Yep.
So what I did is I started to talk to them about. So I've started to introduce video as part of that content marketing process. But what's interesting is even now the game's changing all the time. So it used to be content marketing in terms of pictures and articles and blogs and all the stuff we know. Now I'm basically saying, look, you're going to get ignored if you do that stuff, because unless it's extremely interesting, extremely dynamic, you won't get people's attention, because we're bombarded with so much stuff every angle, and no matter where we are in the world, I think that's true. Well, so the difference now is in the creative.
Yeah. Don't you find it unique though, Phil, that I hear this message across all levels of technology. In video, video is really playing a huge role, and wherever we talk to people, whether it be around the world, Australia, New Zealand, Russia, it's UK, it's everybody has the same message. And what I posed this question the other day, and Mary and I were talking about it, is this is like humanity 2.0, thousands of years ago, when everybody was around the campfire, talking about stories and, sharing a similar interest. And now we're talking about the same thing around Blab and platforms around video, or our blog, or our podcast, or our messaging. It's creating a culture and a community around a subject that we're, interested in. That there's networks out there that are just talking about knitting, or cooking, or trucks, or anything else. And it's just amazing to me to see these people gravitate, even though they're around the world. And now bandwidth is getting available and is more open, and these ideas are being spread. So I think it's going to launch a lot of big ideas around the world. Do you agree?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's remarkable. I mean, it reminds me actually, when I was in my youth here in the UK, would have been about 1981, something like that. CB radio really took off here as a communications tool. And of course, it was all audio based, obviously. But some of my very best friends today, I met on CB radio, whatever that is, 30 years ago. And I see similarities in this, but the difference is that in CB radio here, you could really only talk probably maximum 2 or 3 miles up the road, really.
Yeah.
But here, you're having a similar kinds of conversations. And with CB radio, you ended up communicating on a regular basis with people that you connected with, culturally, socially, interest-wise. Music, it was particularly music in those days, because there was not a lot else to do. But I see similarities now, but on a global scale. And I've started to make what I would say early doors friends on here, that in a similar kind of way as I did with CB radio all those years ago, but this time they're all over the world.
You know, it's interesting you would talk about that, Phil. Tim's in the room today, and Tim and I were on a blab this morning. We were talking with a gentleman. He's somewhere near DC in a small town, and he said about 2 years ago his radio station closed down, and that was the only thing they had in the town. So he kind of felt left out, and he really wants to get on the news. He wants to be able to broadcast. He's called the Frisbee guy, Gary. I can't remember his last name, the Frisbee guy. And he does shows, and every time he goes out of town, why the media is there to cover him. And so now here comes along Blab, and now he has a way now to talk, right? So I don't know, it just like one door closes, the next door opens, and it's just amazing. TV, it's going to be passe, right? We have our own TV stations now. We don't have to wait for CBS.
Well,
and they've done really well, haven't they? I mean, they've built this platform relatively quickly. I think I don't know whether I'm tempting fate here, folks, but it seems to be pretty damn stable. I've been on various blabs and not much has gone wrong. We've been chatting now for 10 minutes, and you guys are as clear as a bell, and I can, there's been nothing going weird on it. From what I can tell, the developers as well seem to be on it. They take feedback. I don't know if you saw this co-host facility that's now available.
We're using it right now in this lab.
I'm a co-host right now.
Exactly. So they seem to just listen to the network, and then very quickly they can add and play around with stuff, and that's amazing. They're very quick and reactive to the needs of the community.
Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely. And
I want to say one thing before we move on to the next thing. Don't forget, FutureMediaAssociation.com has a lot more information, and we are gathering experts from all over the world to bring you the tools and the technology and the training that you want for your business. So feel free to come in. If you're a trainer, an expert in your industry, please let us know. And if you'd like to learn from those experts, let us know. We have a fantastic opportunity every morning here on Blab. Every Tuesday night we are live, and we also have events happening. We not only are in Houston, but new chapters are starting to open up all over. Even in your area of the world, Phil, you could open up your own chapter. So it's pretty cool. And I think it's great. I've just opened it up now. I'll have a look when we finish talking. Yeah.
But and I think that's something that will definitely become more and more prevalent. As I said, I do speeches around this stuff, and when you talk about the future. And I'm just changing my presentations. I've got another one in a couple of weeks' time. And I'm just changing it now to operate live broadcasts. But even just a few months ago, Periscope, Meerkat, and certainly Blab were nowhere. Nothing, not even a concept stage, or certainly wasn't in general awareness. So, and I've spoken to a few people about it, and it certainly is. It's certainly a very dynamic platform with numerous new uses, and I think that. And the other thing that strikes me as well, and I don't speak out of turn here, but it seems to be, dare I say it, a slightly more, how can I put this, intelligent platform. You go onto Meerkat and you go onto Periscope, and when I zip around, you've got some really crazy people doing some crazy stuff, which might be all right if you're 18.
Yeah. Blab is what I wanted Google Hangouts to be.
Exactly. You were open.
Yeah.
You tried to force it, didn't you, Russ?
What's that?
Yeah.
You tried to force it.
I think Google blown it. I really wanted
Google Hangouts to be this, and never. And even you go right now to YouTube, and you go on YouTube, they have streaming beta. Only you have to get your own encoder. You have to go to Livewire and download your encoder and get your film and your editing, and it's just like, it should not be this complicated, folks. It doesn't have to be. It's not required to do that. We have developers taking spreadsheets and creating full pieces of software, SaaS. And Tim Gillette is in the room.
And I want you to finish the thought, but I wanted to add to that is why I clicked into that, Russ, because I've got something to add with that.
Yeah, and so as we develop these platforms, ideas are going to spread and share. And with rapid development in software now that we have, is that one of the projects that Mary and I are involved in is this idea of big data for the small business. And if we ask the right questions for the data, that information is going to prove valuable. I mean, data for data's sake is worthless. However, it has to be the right data collected at the right time for the right question. It goes back to Simon Sinek and the reason why. What's our why? So, go ahead, Tim. I could ramble on for days about that.
Well, you said that you would hope that Google Hangouts was going to be what this is. The reason that it did not happen is the problem is Google launched the whole Google Plus, Google Hangouts with the idea of we're Google, we've got the big market, everybody's going to come here. And they did nothing with the platform to actually make it what we wanted. Yeah, they were trying. I mean, and it's exactly some of the stuff we teach out there, guys who teach marketing type ideas. All right, the biggest marketer out there doesn't always have the best product. They're just good at marketing.
Amen to
Google's
that.
got a big brand, a big name, and they tried to ride off of it. And in this thing here, all right, in today's changing thing with social media, the good technology people are going to take over. We watched. I mean, think about it. 10 years ago, MySpace, Friendster, they're gone. Nobody even knows who they are anymore. And Friendster was supposed to be the biggest thing. That was going to be bigger than MySpace. It's gone. Yeah. Why? Because Mark Zuckerberg listened to the ideas, and he implied it. The people here on this platform with Blab, they listened to the people who are looking for the ideas, and that's why they've blown away Google Plus. Just like you were saying, it's why people like you, Russ, are here going, I like this. This is what I hoped that was going to be, but it didn't live up to my expectations.
Yeah, I left it kicking and screaming, and Marion says, hey, we got to work on.
He forced us every time we'd have a class. He'd make us all try to get on, and we would spend hours trying to get on.
It's crazy. And on the podcasting side, Tim, I'm a beta tester for Spreaker, and they're developing some other platforms that are, I think, interesting. And you can literally, in 5 minutes time, fire up your iPhone or your device, your smart device, and you can be podcasting, and it can be distributed to Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher, and all of these platforms in a matter of minutes. And people don't realize, they get stuck. And I know that you've seen this happen. It gets stuck in the I can't do that. Oh, that's too technical. I'm not technical enough. I don't understand technology, and they really miss the opportunity by thinking they don't know it when it's becoming increasingly easier every single day. And the friction to action is right. It's going away. So there's no limitations. So
that's right.
Yeah, you got it. That's it. And this is going, man. This is going places because we're actually we're using it. It's the users are what's going to drive it. All right. Yeah. And here the users are driving this. And I know, and I've been on this a week, and from listening to people like you guys have been on for a while, and people on other ones that we've been on, is they're connected to the people who created this, and they're still listening to us. How can we make this better?
They're listening. That's the cool thing.
You should have.
That's the key.
You should have tweeted.
That's the key.
You should have tweeted over at Blab, and the team gets it. I mean, they're there. They're involved in it, and they're engaged, and they're dedicated to the fact that they don't want to grow out a team larger than 30 people, and so
that's a great thought, Russ, but I just don't see it happening. It's growing too fast.
Well, yes and no, and if you think about what the platform is and what it doesn't actually require a lot. You can do a lot on media right now with media. Think of a podcast and a remote broadcast. I've literally produced thousands of remote broadcasts with an iPad and a pair of headphones and an interface, and had it broadcast over radio, where 5 years ago it would take a truck, 2 engineers, AT&T connections, and all of this stuff to be engaged in this activity. And literally now, today, you could do it with a phone. So I hear what you're saying, Marion. However, I think that we can cover a lot of ground with a very nimble team, a very streamlined team. So it's just, I'm just thinking that there's.
Okay, so here's where the people are going to have to come in. The hecklers, the people who show up on your blab naked, like, oh my God, close them off, right? I mean, there's.
I haven't had that happen yet.
You haven't had that happen yet, Tim?
I never had
You let them come in and,
Where are they?
Must be you, Marion.
No, wait a minute. I love blab because I only have to get dressed from the waist up.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, no. Too much information.
That's where the people have to come in, Russ. To keep hold of weirdos that,
Here's our message. Mary and I are very passionate about this, and we believe that there's an opportunity right now. And I believe that, like I was saying, Humanity 2.0 is going to utilize platforms like this in order to accumulate in an area where conversations will take place to talk about a subject. It's like the water cooler. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about with a group of people I want to talk to, right? Phil, I'm right. And now it's global.
Yeah.
Now it's global. There's, billions of people on the internet, and another billion going to be, connected in the next year. So these people are all searching for the connection. You go to any large event, you can be completely alone in a crowded room, and people are starving for connections. However, they're unwilling to go up and some of the individuals are unwilling to go up and meet new people because they're afraid. However, if you sit down with somebody long enough in a platform like this and you discover the connection, what your interest is, or you're sharing your passion and you're sharing your information, people are going to gravitate to that, and eventually you're going to get a group of people that is going to take its own form. It doesn't take long.
Russ, I want to let you know that Tim, one of his focuses is on blogging. So I have invited him to come in and be one of our experts when he's in Houston in November.
All right.
He's going to be teaching a class on blogging, right, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing something. Preston, guys know Preston down there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Preston reached out to me and said, hey, I've got a group of people who are interested in what you do. And I'm like, we schedule it. The soonest we could do it was November. So. Hey,
because you're going to be there anyway, you better stop in and help us out.
Yeah,
I will. I looked at it. It's the 16th, so see what your schedule are around it.
Okay, November 16th. I got my calendar right here.
Phil, you started to say something?
Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm in a few internet problems. For some reason, the bandwidth's gone down. But no, all I was going to say was I'm just wondering whether we might see celebrities migrating over here. What do you think?
Oh, yes. Yes, Phil.
Well,
right now it's nerds. Nerds are here.
Yeah, the nerd herd is here right now.
Celebrities will be next.
Yeah.
You're going to see, I think, in my opinion on that, Phil, I think you're going to see the people who want, the celebrities who want to interact with their fan base, yes. There are some celebrities who kind of like that, let me get it on Twitter because I can do that from my phone, and that here it's going to take up too much of their time.
It may be.
So I'm going to say yes, but some of them, the ones who are like, I want my fan base, but I just want to lightly touch them. But the ones that goes, no, I want to get to know you, Marion, I'm going to connect with you. Those are the ones you're going to see get on this.
And
do you know in the UK, there were a few early adopters of Twitter in the UK, and I kind of was on it quite early too. And what I noticed was that when it was new, really new, the celebrities that I'm referring to were actually engaging direct with the fans. I had direct messages between some pretty high profile people on TV because there was very few of them. What's interesting, as that grew, of course, and they ended up with 10,000, 100,000, 200,000, 1 million, that all changed. And then, of course, it was more like a medium of listen to what I say, and this is what I've got to say, and maybe promoting stuff. And it changed at that point. But I think that there are certain people in the UK. There's probably a guy called, I don't know if you've heard of him, called Stephen Fry. And Stephen Fry was very early on Twitter, and he was very, very engaged with people. And I wonder whether he's the sort of person that would come along. But then, of course, with the celebrity come the trolls, and I don't know what the implications of that are, because I know you can delete people and knock people off and all the rest of it, but if there's too many of them being attracted to the drama of being with a particular celebrity, it's very, very difficult then, co-host or not, to be managing, binning and getting rid of lots and lots of people who are giving it all that or typing all sorts of inappropriate comments.
Well,
interesting.
Well, my thought is, and it's kind of a reflection of what Tim was saying, is they're going to be the early adopters, which we're here right now. And then there's going to be the next wave of people that are going to be the info seekers, you know, the people that are saying, okay, well, what can I gain from this? And then once the managers and the marketers, and then they're going to recruit some celebrities to come on and try to attempt to build their brand up in another way, in another channel, in another stream. And so it'll happen. And I suspect that there's going to be a few things that are going to have to be in place before that happens. And that's going to be, you know, some filters that allow people to see what's going to come on before it's actually there. You know, we have no way of seeing who's going to show up in the room, because there's going to have to be a you know, kind of the gatekeeper, you know, the kind of the red rope club type of atmosphere. So I'm sure that they're working on those types of things, you know.
They
to make
are
sure that
every day. I heard the town hall meeting, and they're working on that. Listen, this is a 30-minute show. We can continue talking, but I'm going to close this out now. I want to invite everybody who's listening and watching this to please come visit us at futuremediaassociation.com. We have so much to give. We have so much information for you. Training on media, words, images, audio, and video. We have experts from all over the world who want to connect with you. So please come on over and join us. We're live in Houston, and chapters are opening up all over the world. So come on in and join us while we're getting started, right?
absolutely.
Talk about a ground floor.
Let's stay on here because I like this conversation and I have some time this morning. So
all right, I'm going to go ahead and close us out. So we'll see you again real soon. Tomorrow is in fact tomorrow morning,
every weekday from
8:30
8:30 to 9 Central Standard.